Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this is the Roguelite Ramble. This is a more laid-back video. It is discussing a topic that is important to me or the gaming world at that particular time, but it's not going to be highly edited. You will hear me stumble over my words. You may hear me repeat a portion of the topic in question, but it is more a discussion of something that I find important to talk about to you, the viewers, whether it be something critical in the grain gaming world or something specifically to do with this channel, or both. And in this case, this week is both. Now, Roguelite Ramble basically means that I will put some roguelike footage in the background. It's one of my favorite genres, and this week it will be Enter the Gungeon, which I will have a link to the video in the in the description below. See, I'm actually proving the point that this is, not highly edited by doing this. Was that purposeful or not? Who knows? But this week is about sponsorships on YouTube. In particular, there will be one site that comes up that I will be talking about in length. Now, what is a sponsorship on YouTube? Well, sponsorship means that there is some form of monetary gain that is given to the YouTuber in question for, promoting a product or using a service from another website or YouTube channel, so on and so forth. Basically, these sponsorships are one of the three main ways that a YouTuber can be paid, whether it be through sponsorships, through the ads on YouTube, or through things like Patreon. Now, I have a Patreon. I will always put a link in the description below, but I find that to be the best one because, again, you can focus on the content. You're not dealing with the sort of ups and downs of the ad revenue portion. And with ad blockers out there, yes, that does make a difference in terms of people, paying you to see your content, which it does take a while to put some of the content together like I have on this channel. Some of the reviews, like this Star Fox Zero review I am working on, is taking hours upon hours. I think I'm at about 50 hours on this review, just through script rewrites, just through footage capture. So it does take a lot of effort at times that people don't understand. But in terms of sponsorships, it's a good way of promoting the channel and promoting another channel or, service that you find to be acceptable. Total Biscuit does one for Squarespace on the podcast, and I find that to be a good one. It's not directly related to gaming, but it also provides a service that people may like, being able to create your own website. And there's no moral problems there. Squarespace doesn't have a problem in terms of perception or anything like that. They just offer a service. The problem here is that the sponsorship that was offered to me is one where I have moral dilemmas with, and ones that I will not be taking. And that one may surprise you because it's one that you've probably seen on other bigger gaming YouTube channels, and that is G2A. So what is G2A? Well, it's a key reseller. Basically, it's a used game seller of sorts of digital Steam keys, so keys that you can redeem in terms of games. These are keys that you may find in Humble Bundles, for example. Keys that are bought via their gift system. Keys that are obtained for YouTubers via a, giveaway or something like that, or the keys that they're using to get the review copies. And this is where things get interesting. Now, it's not a used game per se, because once those keys are redeemed, they're gone forever at that point. It's associated with the account. That key can't be reused. But it's more so that these products came through a secondary source, not the direct source from Steam, GOG, so on and so forth. Now, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that kind of service? Well, on the surface, nothing. There isn't any problems in terms of, buying used games or buying those keys. There isn't a problem in the idea. The problem is the execution, and in particular, G2A's execution with the services they offer. Now, to be, 100% upfront, I was offered a G2A Goldmine affiliate program. What is that? Well, I will put a little bit of the description here in terms of the email. Basically, gaming YouTube channels get sponsors from G2A with links to their affiliate portion. So basically, if you wanted to buy a game, let's say Just Cause 3, and you buy it via G2A via my affiliate link, I would get a cut of that sale. It would not be horribly significant, but any money does help, and considering the sort of lack of effort it would need to go through that, it seems like a good secondary portion in terms of revenue coming to the channel. Now, there are other sites that do what G2A does. There is something like Chrono.gg. Now, Chrono.gg is a newer site that works with the developers and publishers to have that affiliate portion of it. That's where the things are a little bit different, because G2A doesn't work with the developers in question. They don't work with the publishers. These are all key resellers. And there's two types of it. There's G2A itself, and then there's the sort of G2A hosted keys. What do I mean by that? Well, there's keys that are offered via, secondary users that are giving you the keys in question. And in exchange, you pay them a specific amount. G2A is just sort of there as a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's sort of a intermediary, sort of like, allowing for the connection to happen. The problem with G2A is the keys themselves and whether or not they're legitimate. And the problems I have with G2A is the selling of keys that are not checked in terms of where they came from. Now, we do have services out there like, let's say, Craigslist, for example, where somebody could sell something on Craigslist. The person who is buying it doesn't necessarily do their homework, and they're buying something that is not what they think it is. An iPhone 6, in fact, is an iPhone 4, or a iPhone 6, and in fact, they put it in little text or something, i6 box. So there are some situations where it's like, okay, you didn't necessarily do your homework on it, even though it is still sleazy. But in G2A's case, they offer the key and don't really, in my opinion, do a good job of giving you any sort of reasonable confidence that the key is going to work, because the key may not work, and that's the big problem with G2A. See, some of the keys they get are legitimate. They're through the Humble Bundles or, keys that people didn't want, and they buy them and resell them for reasonable purposes. Okay, fine. Some were bought through other countries at lower prices. Countries like Russia, for example, or countries that there are more incentive to, sell the game at a cheaper price because people wouldn't buy them otherwise. There is something to supply and demand here. A country like, let's say, Russia or Indonesia or something, where the population has lower, dispendable income, you still want to make a profit off the game. You still want to sell the game to them. It may be at a cheaper price. But you may be able to buy those, games in bulk and be able to redeem those keys at, let's say a United States location, for example. There is no sort of not localization, that's not the word I'm looking for, but there is no local aspect in terms of some of those keys. They will not necessarily stop you from activating those keys on your Steam account. So, okay, that's fine. Then there are the nefarious means ones. There are the ones where the keys were obtained fraudulently. And what do I mean by that? Well, a good example, which I will link in the description below, is Natural Selection 2. Alright, so let's talk about Unknown Worlds Entertainment, the guys behind Natural Selection 2. They had asked Valve to deactivate 1,341 Steam keys that were purchased through their website. We're not talking about G2A yet, I'll get to that. Now, why did they ask them to deactivate it? It was a purchase through their website. Well, that's because they were bought via a credit card that issued a chargeback. What is a chargeback? Well, it's a consumer protection mechanism, and that protection is a good one. Let's say, for example, your card was stolen and somebody bought a LED TV with it or a Xbox One. Well, obviously, you didn't buy it and it was stolen from you, so you issue a chargeback on the card that was stolen so that you don't have the money taken from you. Well, that does have a price to it. And in particular, it has a price with the digital goods. See, with the TV, okay, yeah, it's basically stolen at that point. Somebody bought the TV, it's taken. There's not a lot you can do. But the digital portion may be a little bit different because these are digital goods. And in particular, with a server-based system, they can deactivate the keys in question, which makes sense. They didn't actually buy the keys in question, and so they deactivate the keys. Everything's level, right? Not so fast. Because there are these key resellers, you can have the situation where these keys were bought, then sold to someone like G2A, or, sold via G2A's, secondary services, where someone buys it legitimately. Even though it's a stolen good, it is legitimately bought by that person. And so they buy the key, they activate it, everything's fine. Now they go the next day to play the game, and lo and behold, they can't play it. It's been revoked. What's the deal here? Well, that's because the key was revoked via Unknown Worlds Entertainment. And now you start to see the problems here. See, when you get a key of this type, where you get a key that gets revoked, this is where things get really, really sort of muddy. Now, you can go to the support of G2A and try to get your money back at that point. But based on the experiences of people who have gone through this process, it's not so easy, and you may not get reactions very quickly. A good example of this is Devolver Digital. Yes, the publisher Devolver Digital. They have gone on record saying that games purchased on G2A.com are not legitimate, not guaranteed, and not supported. We are actively canceling those keys, and I'll put that link in the description below. The thing is that you may be wondering, well, wait a minute, it may be a legitimate key resell. The thing is that, again, it could be and it may not be. One of the things that Devolver Digital did in order to understand the process of what G2A was doing in 2014 was they bought their own keys that were being sold on the service, and keys that had been apparently deactivated. Now, they actually emailed the customer service team in question asking, hey, guess what? Can you help us out with, these keys in question? And they never got a response. Now, G2A did respond saying, we don't know exactly what you're talking about. Allow us to, take a look at exactly what you're talking about. But this isn't necessarily a one-off. This is a trend that we've seen with some G2A situations. Now, some people have had no problems with G2A. Let me make that perfectly clear. And from a consumer standpoint, it may be worth the risk. But I have a problem with selling keys that may not work, even if it's through a third party. Even if it's through a third party that's being hosted on your site, G2A doesn't seem to go through the process of making sure that their product they're selling is actually legitimate, and I have a big problem with that. Now, a lot of people have sort of, given me the argument, well, it's like buying used games at GameStop. You don't know if it's stolen there. You don't know if it came through nefarious means. You're right. But you know what GameStop does? They actually put the disc in to a console and check to see if it plays, so that the product that I am delivering to a customer is actually working. Right now, you can't do that on Steam. You activate the key, that's it. Some may argue, well, that's on Steam's fault, but just because it's not offered by Steam doesn't mean that's a legitimate reason to offer a product that you can't guarantee, and that's a major problem I have with G2A. But I also have a huge problem otherwise with one of their services. It's called G2A Shield. Basically, G2A Shield, and I'm going to bring up the link here because I don't want to get this wrong per se, but I have a reasonable idea about it. G2A Shield is a 100% satisfaction guarantee regarding purchases. So, your transaction's guaranteed or your money's refunded. The perfect unique solution for both buyers and sellers. You link your card to the G2A account, and basically you have a 5-minute money-back solution so that if you purchase a fraudulent key, you will get refunded. First of all, if I've bought a product via your service and it did not work, or if you facilitated the purchase of another product from another user via your service, you better guarantee me that the product is legitimate. If you're telling me that I bought the product from you, it didn't work, and I can't refund it, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. There's nothing more that I can say than that's bullshit. Even if it's through a third-party seller that you haven't guaranteed, guess what? They are representing you on their service. So guess what? I don't give a damn. Now, the bigger problem I have here is that one, the support for G2A, based on what I showed you with Devolver Digital, is bad to begin with. It's not necessarily responsive. I've seen horror stories about, going 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks without emails. And so, okay, a problem. But now you're offering a service that guarantees that at a price. So you are now offering the refund of maybe a third-party key. Okay, so you're offering the fact that you are going to be guaranteed that that person doesn't screw you over. Okay, sure, why not? Except that may actually have other consequences. You can be refunded, and you will be refunded, at least for the first purchase. Oh, by the way, you may also be then banned, or your image in terms of the site may be hurt. There are multiple sources that say that they've, refunded it once via G2A Shield, and then found themselves banned from being able to buy or sell via their service at that point, because they were not they had a history at that point. Which just seems like a scam to me. It just seems like a horrible, horrible scam in terms of, oh yeah, we'll refund you, but the first time there, you may have been legitimately hurt, but you got legitimately hurt, so that's not sort of on you. So we're gonna make sure that we minimize the damage to us by, taking you off the service. It's very much like insurance, but at least with insurance, your premium goes up, or, you're not necessarily canceled. Here, you're canceled. And that's a little bit slimy, don't you think? Now, there are other YouTubers that use this service. Trump from Hearthstone uses the service in terms of the affiliate program. And there are multiple that use it that probably are happy with it. And I'm not going to say that they're in the wrong for, doing that. Personally, I think it is underhanded, but I'm not going to hold that against them. But if you've watched anything on this channel, you know that I take my games and my health of the industry very seriously. And I think sites like G2A are I don't want to say a cancer on the gaming industry, because I think that's going too far, but I think they are leeches on the industry. There is a reason why a game is sold at for $60 at launch. Yes, you may not like the fact that it's $60, but you can also, as a consumer, you have protections against that. For example, you can wait until it goes down to a cheaper price, or you can, buy another game at a cheaper price. The idea of buying that same game for $30 on G2A because it takes advantage of loopholes or stolen content, it's your choice as a consumer, but as a person who is supposed to represent his channel and represent games, that to me is just a bad idea. These are games that I want to commend for being good, commend for being, innovative, commend for being something new in the industry. And for me to then use G2A that sort of actively hurts the developers I'm trying to bring up at this point it just doesn't bode well for me. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, would I love it that I got a sponsorship that I could actually work with, like Squarespace? Yes, I would. I would not have a problem with something like Chrono.gg, because again, Chrono.gg works with publishers, they work with developers, and they don't have the reputation that G2A has. From what I've seen with G2A, in terms of actually working with publishers, they've got a horrible reputation. Like, Devolver Digital basically blasted them on social media and really didn't like the fact that they were promoting their site with their logo on it. They've had run-ins with Riot where they've sold League of Legends, equipment on their site, and they said, look, you got to take that down if we're going to have you sponsor our big tournaments. And the fact that they basically said no and then got pissy about it when, Riot just said, okay, enough is enough, we're done with you. At this point, it just shows immaturity as a business and as individuals from that website. Now, do I appreciate that they offered me a sponsorship, that, my YouTube channel has grown enough that they offered me one? Yes, I do. I appreciate the fact that they've seen some value in it. Does that mean I will take that offer? Hell no. And again, morals to me make a huge difference. The fact that you say that you can help the channel grow more if you partner with us, great. I've seen this over and over again. I've seen, MCNs promoting the fact that, you can partner with us and you'll exponentially grow. And yet you've seen hundreds of horror stories off that. We've seen these, sites that offer views and, things in terms of payment, saying that, we can help grow your site to get you more attention, even though that's against the YouTube terms of service. I just don't get why morals have so degraded at this point where basic human values don't mean shit. Being honest with each other, being, not scum. And I know that's sort of naive. I know that there are people in this world that are definitely underhanded, but it's just sad to me. It's just sad that, just for, a few extra bucks that, people are willing to go to those lengths. And so from my standpoint, I won't be promoting it. I'm sorry, I won't. That may hurt my channel. That may not help it in terms of being able to turn into a viable business. But frankly, I'd rather fail and be morally in the right than morally be bankrupt and, succeed. That's one of the reasons why I left the job that I was at regarding SPX Gen Fair, because I think their morals went to the shitter. And I wasn't willing to compromise with that anymore. So, anyway, that is my sort of ramble on G2A. You will not see affiliate links on this unless if they prove that, they've made huge changes, which I don't think they have. You will not see this on this YouTube site. And while you can make the purchases on G2A, I don't hold that against you. You are the consumers. You are reasonable in terms of, okay, I need to get a game for a cheaper price. That's in your power. I just can't promote it myself. All right, this is Dragnix signing out. Hopefully I have the Star Fox Zero review by tomorrow. I don't know. This review is basically hell on earth right now with all the things that are going on with it. So I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you want more content like this. In the description below, you'll find the Steam review accompanying this vid, along with social media that you can follow me on, Twitter, Google+, and Facebook groups. And if you want to support the channel, click that Patreon on the left of the screen. And remember, keep on gaming.